Hi there, I'm back. I said I'd get out of this room eventually, and well, we really have. It's been really interesting following what's going on, particularly following the Summer of Strikes campaign. And so thank you to everyone new who subscribed. It really means a lot. We're going to be going through our previous interviews with many of the people in the trade unions movement. So we've spoken to Eddie Dempsey a couple of times now. We're speaking to Dave Ward. We're going to be speaking to Mick Lynch at some point. That's in the pipeline. No guarantees when that's going to happen, but that is going to happen. And the next stage of that energy that has been created by the trade unions movement is here. And they have started a campaign, which I'm sure many people who are watching this video have heard of. But I'm sure there's some who haven't heard of because it hasn't exactly been widely covered by the mainstream media. And that is the launch of the Enough is Enough campaign.
People are fed up with the way they're treated at work. We need to turn that mood into real organisation on behalf of the working class.
Enough is enough.
There's always another crisis, and it's always workers who pay the price. We've suffered the biggest pay squeeze in history, and workers become all about working harder and faster for less. And now they want you to pay for it all again. Well, it's time somebody else paid the price.
Things can't go on like this.
Record profits for big business, record number of billionaires, record wealth for the top 10%. But life is getting harder for everyone else.
You always make the sacrifices, yet they always reap the rewards. None of this is inevitable.
It's a political choice, your need or their greed.
So it's time everyone in this country who's got a rotten landlord, who's got a low wage, who's got in-work benefits, who's going to a food bank, who can't get a doctor's appointment, who can't get housing. It's about time we all stood up together and said, enough is enough.
This cost of living crisis affects us all.
This is not just about rail workers or cleaners.
Posties, engineers or call centre workers.
Or nurses, or teachers, or firefighters.
It's about you and every workplace and every community across this country.
It's time for a campaign that draws the line.
It's time to say enough
So
is
the
enough.
Enough is Enough campaign have 5 main pledges or 5 main points that they really want to focus on. And that is a real pay rise, a slash in energy bills, an end to food poverty, decent homes for all, and to tax the rich. Now, over the next week or so, we will be going through and breaking down what exactly those 5 main pledges could look like. But I just wanted to kind of give my immediate thoughts on the campaign and what are the chances of success? Because in reality, what the trade union movement and the whole now Labour movement as well, small L, the Labour Party can get on board whenever they want to. The Labour movement is up against some very powerful entrenched interests. And the trade unions have done brilliantly at putting front and centre the cost of living crisis and just general living standards and conditions for people. And no political party has been doing that. As you will have heard in many places, but in some of our interviews and some of the speeches that we've posted, go and check those out, by the way. If you want to see all of our interviews with like Eddie Dempsey, Alex Gordon, president of the RMT, Dave Ward, Jeremy Corbyn, all these people, there is an interviews playlist. So go on there and check it out. But these, you've got these organisations going up against their companies in many cases, or in some cases, Grant Shapps, the Transport Secretary, saying that the government has no responsibility to handle these things. And that's really what the big issue is here at the moment. You have no one taking responsibility. And so the Enough is Enough campaign is the labour and trade unions movement and community organisations trying to take the initiative. But as I said, they are up against some really powerful entrenched interests. And for me personally, the only way that we can really truly oppose these powerful interests is by eventually having a long-term goal of, we need to get these people out of power. We need to have different people in power. And actually, a lot of the comments that we've had on our videos have, funnily enough, been exactly that sentiment of, we need Mick Lynch in Parliament, we need Eddie Dempsey in Parliament. And yeah, fine, I agree. But at the moment, this is I would say the step, not necessarily towards that end, but this is the next step of, how does this movement that has been created now expand beyond just the Labour and trade unions membership? So that will be the key of how people can show their collective solidarity, is by sheer numbers of people demanding better from the situation that, you know, is occurring right now. And I think there'll have to be a lot of pressure put on the Labour Party. There has been, you know, with Sam Tarry, who disobeyed Keir Starmer's orders to not appear on picket lines, if you remember, at the front bench. And then you had multiple other members of the front, the shadow cabinet, then going and joining picket lines. And then now that line has had to be walked back. So it does show that if pressure is applied in the right way, we can affect change in a positive direction. And so that is really the takeaway, the general takeaway of the Enough is Enough campaign, is if this can be an organised opposition and a true opposition to the government, and it can force the official opposition in Parliament to come, you know, on side and get behind this, then there is a really powerful movement there. And we will be following that. We will be doing more interviews. As I said, we're going to try and get an interview with Mick Lynch. We have had an agreement, but, you know, they're very busy. They're, you know, fighting for better pay and conditions for everyone in this country. So, you know what, like, you know, priorities. But yeah, as I said, the actual like pledges, I'm going to go through and break them down one by one. And when we get a chance to speak to people in the movement, we will be asking them, you know, what might these things look like? And another thing that I think a lot of people were looking for, but maybe hasn't happened yet. And as I said, I think this is a step on that journey. I don't maybe that is the next step, but we had a lot of comments about general strike. Now, for a general strike to be effective, I think you need to have movements like the Enough is Enough campaign to bring in enough people who aren't in workplaces where there are trade union memberships or high levels of trade union memberships, particularly in the private sector. You need to bring those people on side. So if Enough is Enough is the groundwork to be able to create that, then this campaign is good. I think that on paper, the 5 pledges are decent, but they're just the start, because how this is then impacted in policy is really the key. And as I said, you need to have your hands on the mechanisms of power to be able to implement these policies. So that's what we're going to be exploring. That's what the sort of next stage of this journey is, not just for the Enough is Enough campaign and trade union movement, for us as well at an alternative union. You know, we're going to be on the ground. My diary's full of dates coming up of strikes. We're going to get down to them. We're going to speak to people. We're going to speak to, like, you know, notable people in the movement, but we want to speak to everyone. We want to get as many voices as possible on the channel. So share yours in the comments, share your thoughts. If you had a question for Eddie Dempsey or Mick Lynch or Dave Ward, leave it in the comments and I will read them. And you know what, I might actually ask them when I get the chance to. So definitely do that. Like and subscribe. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed. Let's keep going. Let's keep building this, because, you know, our interviews with Eddie Dempsey, we're beating GB News. They started with 60 million pounds, and you know, we started with nothing, and our videos, people seem to like them more than they like GB News. So it shows exactly that was what we wanted to do when we started. So we're absolutely buzzing with that. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let's unite together and create fair conditions and a better society for us all. Thank you for watching.